Welcome to another episode of Vikings Women's Basketball with Lynn Kennedy. And Coach, we're talking after two wins last weekend against Idaho and Eastern Washington. Let's start with the win against Idaho. You guys were tied 49-49 at the start of the fourth quarter. Just 3 days earlier, a late run went against you at Southern Utah. This time it goes your way. You guys outscored them 25-4 over the last quarter. What did that show about your team?
Well, going into that, we had a couple days of practice to get ready for that game, and I liked the energy and intensity, and getting ready for Idaho. That's an easy as far as motivation and the team that we're about to play. So we felt pretty good going into the game. I liked our flow offensively, first, second, and third quarters. It was a tight game though, and they had stepped up and came back, and we had consistently had a lead throughout. And then when they came back, it was okay. Let's see what we're made of now, and we just had seen it against Southern Utah, so it was nice to finish strong. We were getting shots the entire game, and we had some shots go down early in that 12-0 run, I believe, and then our defense picked up, our rebounding picked up, and kind of sealed it with that run at the end.
And rebounding was what I wanted to talk about next. It was the theme in both games. Against Idaho, it was really solid. The Vikings tied a season high with the plus 16 rebounding margin against the Vandals. Eastern, you guys went up so early that the team kind of relaxed a little bit. The Eagles actually out-rebounded you guys in the end and had 18 offensive boards. So what's your takeaway from those games?
Well, I think, anytime you're playing conference games, you've got to rebound the ball well, and something that we've been talking about all season. When we do, we're pretty good. When we don't, it's a struggle, and give Eastern credit. They didn't quit, and they kept rebounding, and so that was kind of some of that game. But I liked our effort against Idaho. We knew, especially three-point shooting team, if you give up offensive rebounding, they get easy kickouts. Those are the easiest shots they'll get. So we knew we limit one shot, we can get into our offensive flow. And then against Eastern, they're such a good rebounding team too. We wanted to keep them off the glass early. We did that the first quarter. Need to be consistent throughout, but it's with any conference games, especially against the teams coming up. They're physical, they're strong down low, and so we need to limit one shot, and that can start an offensive flow.
All right, one thing that was there in both games was the three-point shooting. Vikings hit 10 against Idaho, 13, tying a program record against the Eagles. And we've talked about this before, but it's depth throughout the lineup. Now posts Tatiana Stroin and Jordan Stotler are hitting for you guys, but you have three others in the top 15 for makes per game in the conference and 4 in percentage. So it's a weapon for you.
Yeah, I think, when you talk about our balance, I think that's the key for that. I think if you take away our inside game, that leaves our shooters open. If you take away our attack, we can get either our post or outside shooting going. So I think it's a little bit of everything. Hopefully it's tough to guard us, and that's what we want. And if we're hitting those threes, it becomes even tougher because our inside players are then wide open. We can establish that, and then we could get back to shooting on the outside as well. So it's basketball. When you make shots, it becomes an easier game. But I think for us, when we're shooting the ball well, and we establish our inside game, it's tough to guard us.
All right, we'll move to this weekend. The Vikings have a tough test Saturday. Montana State, the league leaders, come to the Viking Pavilion. They play Idaho tonight as we film this, but they are 4-0 currently, and they had one of their best weekends of the season last weekend, beating Northern Colorado and Southern Utah, scoring 91 in each and beating them by 25+. So a very impressive Bobcat team that's coming to Viking Pavilion.
Oh, yeah, and you can see watching tape why they're picked preseason number 1, and they had such a good preseason. It was a tough schedule, but they played teams really tough, especially on the road, and they're a complete team. I think that's the first time we've seen a complete team in conference play where they're they've got 4 posts that are solid, that are really good, and at any time can post up and contribute down low, but they can step out too, and some of them can knock down threes. And I think their guard attack is probably the best it's been in the last couple of years, and they're shooting the ball well from the outside too. So a complete team offensively, defensively, they throw a lot of looks at you, and so just to be able to mix it up against us, we've got to be ready for that and be able to execute. But it's going to be a tough game. It's nice that it's at home. We have a little bit of a stretch here to get healthy, get ready for this game, but it's 2 tough teams coming in here.
Right, and Montana comes in Monday. The Lady Griz started 3-1 in conference. They play Eastern Washington tonight, and they're a bit like the Vikings in that 7 different players average 7.5 points per game. What do you see out of Lady Griz?
Well, they've been a little bit up and down this year. You know, they've looked really good in some games, and in other games they haven't been themselves. And so I think going into this weekend, not sure what to expect for them. We'll see a little bit more when they play Eastern as well. But I think for us, we've got to continue to do what we do, keep them off the glass. It seems like when they get offensive second and third chance opportunities, they're a little bit better because they get more looks at the basket. And then we've got to frustrate them, you know, on the defensive end for us, and take away their shots, take away their drive, take away their post play. They've hopefully continues, but they've struggled on the outside against us in the past, and we need that to happen again on Monday.
All right, there it is. Montana State Saturday at 2 p.m., Montana Monday at 7 p.m. Monday's game is a whiteout, and it's also presented by Les Schwab, so wear white. For tickets and all other information, visit GoVikes.com.